Hi, I'm Shiva and welcome you all to another session on economics. In today's session, we are going to see about national income. In national income, we are going to see what is national income, the different meanings and definitions, the basic concepts of national income, methods of measuring national income, the importance of national income analysis, the difficulties in measuring them, and finally, we'll be ending the chapter with national income and social accounting. So, what is national income? National income gives a comprehensive measure of the economic activities of a nation. When we are studying national income, it indirectly shows us how the economic activities are happening in a nation. It also denotes what is the purchasing power of a country. So, this gives rise to a question: what is purchasing power? Purchasing power is the value of a currency expressed in terms of the number of goods or services that one unit of money can buy. In Indian currency, with 1 rupee, the number of units of goods and services that we can buy is called as the purchasing power. To give you an example, let's consider fuel prices. In 2021, currently we are spending 92.71 rupees per liter. Back in 2021, it was just 38.1 rupee per liter. So, what is the purchasing power of diesel price back in 2010 and 2021 today? For 1 rupee in 2021, we are able to get only 10.78 ml of diesel. But in 2010, for 1 rupee, we were able to get 26.24 ml of diesel. So it clearly means when your prices go up or inflation happens, the purchasing power comes down. If you can see in 2010, for 38.1 rupees per liter, the purchasing power was 26.24 ml of diesel per rupee. But in 2021, it's just 10.78 ml of diesel. Hence, inflation is indirectly proportional to purchasing power. When there is an inflation, there is always an erosion of or a reduction of purchasing power of a country. Okay. Next is national income shows the growth of an economy. And this is because the rate at which real income grows over time gives us a value of how there is growth in an economy. The concept of national income was introduced by an economist by the name of Simon Smith Kuznets. A fun fact here is he also won Nobel Prize for Economics in the year 1971. Even though there were a lot of people who explained what national income is, even before Simon Kuznets, he was the one who popularized the term gross domestic product, which is a measure of national income and other forms of national accounting. Now let's see the meaning of national income. National income is nothing but the total money value of all the final goods and services produced in a country during a particular period of time, let's say 1 year. Let me explain it once again. In 1 year, how much goods and services are produced in a country, and we have to take the money value of all the goods and services produced in that country in that 1 year. This money value is called as national income. Okay. If you see definitions, there are two definitions given by one by Alfred Marshall and the second one by Simon Kuznets. The one given by Alfred Marshall is the labor and capital of a country acting on its natural resources produce annually a certain net aggregate of commodities, material and immaterial, including services of all kinds. This is the true net annual income or revenue of the country or national dividend. Let me explain it once again. The labor and capital of a country. Labor as in human resources, capital as in all the money that we invest in any company or any manufacturing process. When these both come together and if they act on the natural resources, they produce a net aggregate of commodities, material and immaterial, including services of all kinds. This aggregate of commodities, materials and immaterial, or the revenue because of the manufacturing and selling of these commodities, is considered as the national income of the country or the national dividend. A fun fact here is we have already seen who Alfred Marshall is. Back in 11th standard, he was the one who gave welfare definition of economics. Okay. Next is Simon Kuznets. The definition given by him is the net output of the commodities and services flowing during the year from the country's productive system into the hands of the ultimate consumers or into net addition to the country's stock of capital goods. What's happening here is the net output of commodities and services. Commodities are nothing but goods. What is the final output of goods and services that is given to the country's consumers? That is, people like us who consume the goods and services produced by the country, or it can also go into the country's inventory of capital goods. If at all these both happens, the total value of that is the ultimately what is consumed by the consumers and also what is finally in the country's stock of capital goods. Both these values together is called as national income. Okay. Next is we are going to see some of the basic concepts of national income. These are the few national income concepts which is currently in practice in any economic system. The first one is gross domestic product, which is also called as GDP in short form. GDP is the total market value of final goods and services produced within the country during a year. What is GDP? GDP is total market value of final goods and services produced within the country during a year. It is calculated by expenditure method at market prices. Expenditure method is nothing but we calculate all the expenses made by different sectors at market prices. Okay. And the formula for calculating GDP by expenditure method at market prices is C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Here, C is the consumption goods, I investment goods, G government purchases, X is export and M is import. Okay. Next, it gives rise to something called as net domestic product, which is nothing but the value of net output of the economy during the year. For this, we calculating or we are subtracting depreciation from the total GDP value, because depreciation always happens when we have capital equipments working in a country. Capital equipments always wears out or becomes outdated each year during the production process. So we will have to add an allowance for this wearing out, hence the value of depreciation. So net domestic product or NDP in short form is equal to GDP minus depreciation. Next is gross national product. So what is gross national product? The total measure of the flow of final goods and services at market value resulting from current production in a country during a year, including income from abroad. So, gross national product is nothing but, along with GDP, we are also adding the net income that we receive from abroad. Let's see this in detail. We've already seen what is GDP. Okay, GDP is nothing but C plus I plus G plus X minus M. That is, C is consumption, value of final consumer goods and services produced in a year to satisfy the immediate wants of the people. Any consumer goods that is finally going into the people's hands is called as consumption. Next, I is equal to gross investment. Gross investment is gross private domestic investment in capital goods, and this can be fixed capital formation or residential construction and inventories of finished and unfinished goods. Okay. The third one is G is equal to goods and services produced or purchased by the government. And we all already know what is X minus M, which is net exports of goods and services, and this is calculated by subtracting imports from exports. The new term added here is net factor income from abroad, which is given by R minus P. Here R is equal to factor incomes received from abroad from normal residents of India. Okay, R is nothing but people who are working abroad and sending income to India. So that is an income for Indian people. And P here is factor incomes paid to the foreign residents for factor services rendered by them in the domestic territory in India. P is nothing but the income paid to the, there might be some foreigners who are working in the Indian territory, and all the income that is paid to the foreigners in Indian territory is called as the value P. Hence, the income received by us from foreign minus the income paid to foreigners in India gives us net factor income from abroad. So finally, GNP at market prices is equal to GDP at market prices plus net factor income from abroad, which is also C plus I plus G plus X minus M, which is net exports, and R minus P, which is net factor income from abroad. Okay. If you can see clearly, each and every term is built on another term. We know gross domestic product and gross national product is inclusive of net factor income. Okay. Next we move on to what is net national product at market prices. The value of the net output of the economy during the year is called as net national product, NNP, at market price once again. NNP is equal to gross national product minus depreciation allowance. This depreciation allowance is capital consumption allowance. Okay, we know what is a depreciation. It is the value provided to the wearing out of capital goods. So NNP is GNP minus depreciation allowance. Okay, this is similar to what we saw here for GDP. The net domestic product is NDP is equal to GDP minus depreciation. Similarly, NNP is equal to GNP minus depreciation allowance. Okay. Next is NNP at factor cost. The total income payment made to the factors of production. NNP at factor cost is NNP at market prices minus indirect taxes plus the subsidies provided to the factors of production. The main difference between market price and factor cost is market price is the general price in the market. Factor cost is all the prices made to the factors of production. Factors of production is nothing but land, labor, capital and organization and other resources used in manufacturing or in any production methods. So NNP at factor cost is equal to NNP at market price minus indirect taxes paid by the factors plus subsidies provided by the government to the factors of production. Okay, the next one is personal income. The total income received by the individuals of a country from all sources before payment of direct taxes in a year is called as personal income. So basically, what is personal income? The personal income is the total income received by anyone in a country from all the sources before he pays the taxes for the year. So the total income or the personal income is inclusive of all the taxes. Okay. We should also note that the personal income is not equal to the national income because of the following reasons. The personal income includes the transfer payments made by the government. These transfer payments could be any subsidies provided to the people. So these are all included in the personal income, whereas it is not included in the national income. Okay. The formula used for calculating personal income is equal to national income minus the addition of the terms social security contribution and undistributed corporate profits, and on top of that we add transfer payments. So personal income is equal to national income minus social security contributions and undistributed corporate profits plus transfer payments. Next is disposable income. Disposable personal income is the individual's income after the payment of income tax. So what we are doing is, from this personal income we are deducting the total taxes that needs to be paid back to the government. So the final value that he will get is the disposable income available with the households for consumption and also for savings. What is personal income? The personal income is the total income received by the individuals of a country from all the sources before he pays taxes. If you are reducing these taxes from the personal income, it becomes disposable income. This disposable income is the amount available with households for consumption. In terms of an equation, we can give disposable income as personal income minus the direct taxes. And this could also be consumption plus savings. Okay. The next is per capita income. What is per capita income? It is the average income of a person of a country in a particular year. This will be true only if the income is equally distributed. If there is an unequal distribution in income, this value will not give the actual status of an economy. Per capita income is equal to national income, that is the total value of national income divided by the total population. So this average is nothing but the average income held by any single person in a country. This will be an overall representation of how the economy is doing only if income is equally distributed. Next, what we are going to see is real income. Real income is the buying power of nominal income. That is, with the income that we have, what is the purchasing power or the buying power? That is the real income. National income expressed in terms of a general price level of a particular year. In order to calculate this general price level of a particular year, we are using two price indexes. One is P1, which is price index during the current year, let's say 2021, or whatever the year current year is, The P0 value is nothing but price index during the base year. For instance, it can be the last year or any year previous to that. So when considering these two values, we can calculate real income at constant price by using the formula national income at current price divided by P1 by P0. This will give us the real income value of a country. The next is GDP deflator. GDP deflator is the index of price changes of goods and services included in GDP, and it is calculated by dividing nominal GDP with real GDP and multiplying it by 100. So this ends the basic concepts of national income, and now we move on to different methods of measuring national income. The goods and services produced in the country must always be counted and converted against money value during any year. If this method is done properly, the output is equal to income and is also equal to expenditure, because the methods are circular in nature. Whatever factors of production is given to a firm sector, all the money generated or all the revenue generated by the firm sector is given back to the factors of production in terms of wages, rents or dividends. For example, if land is provided to the production sector, they pay back in terms of rent for the land provided. If labor is provided from the household sector to the firm sector, the firms give back wages for the labor provided. Hence, this is a circular process. So, when we are calculating national income using a production method or income method or the expenditure method, if all these methods are done properly, it is always said to be output being equal to income being equal to expenditure. Now let's see these methods one by one. The first method is product method. In product method, the output of the country is measured, and this is normally used in underdeveloped countries, and it is used very rarely because there is less reliability because of the margin of error, which is large in the case of this method. And it is in India we are using this for industries like agriculture, mining and manufacturing, including handicrafts. An alternate name for this method is inventory method, because inventory is nothing but the stock of all the output that is held on by any firm sector. So the gross value of output from agriculture, industry, trades and commerces are found out using this product method. Now let's see how it is calculated. We are calculating gross national product at market prices using this method. What is gross national product? Let's see once again. Gross national product is C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P. This is gross national product at market prices. Okay, so that is what we are going to find here. So it is nothing but summation of all the values added in the productive process. Suppose there is a production process happening. In each step, what are all the different values added? All these values in each production process should be summed up in order to give us the GNP at market prices. When we are doing this, we should avoid double counting. That is, the value of the final output should be taken into the estimate of GNP, or the sum of values added should be taken. Both should not be taken. If you are considering the value of the final output, the values added in each step should not be taken. If you are taking the value added in each step, you should not take the value of the final output in the manufacturing process. To give an example, let's consider farm output. So, in farm output, we are considering total production of all the 64 agricultural commodities that are being produced in our country. How we are doing this? It is valued at market price, and output of each product is calculated by multiplying the area sown into average yield per hectare, and gross value is calculated by aggregating all the individual outputs. For each of the 64 agricultural commodities, we are calculating output by using the formula area into average yield per hectare at market prices. And finally, for all the 64 outputs is added together to give the gross value in order to find out net value, because in product method we have to find out GNP at market prices. GNP is not gross domestic product, but it is gross net product. So what we are doing here, net value is equal to gross value of output minus the cost of seed, manure, fertilizers, market charges, repairs and depreciation. All these values are subtracted from the gross value of the output. Finally, we are getting the net value or gross net product at market prices for all the agricultural commodities. Similarly, this is also used in different industries like animal husbandry, forestry, fisheries, mining and factories. Let me explain once again. To calculate total production of farm output for each individual 64 agricultural commodities, we are calculating output by multiplying area sown into average yield per hectare at market prices. Then it is all summed up together, that is, it is all added together in order to calculate GNP at market price, that is the net value. We are subtracting the gross value calculated by this method by the cost of seed, manure, fertilizers, market charges and repairs and depreciation. So this gives the gross net value of the product at market prices, which is nothing but GNP at market prices. Next, there are some of the precautions that needs to be taken when using product method. Double counting is to be avoided. Commodity should not be included because it is a raw material used in the manufacturing, and it can also be the intermediate goods for final production. For example, in cotton that is used in garments, we have to add only the value of the final value of all the processes. We should not add the value of cotton in each of the individual processes in manufacturing of a garment product. In garment manufacturing, the value of cotton should be added only at the last instead of in each of the manufacturing processes, like when cotton is turned into a thread, and when thread is turned into a fabric, and finally when fabric is turned into a garment. Only in one of these steps cotton value should be added, otherwise there will be double counting. Next is self-consumed output should be counted. Some of the production that we make is also consumed personally. All those consumption should also be added in GNP at market prices. And when it comes to durable goods, sale and purchase of second-hand goods should not be included because the value of that good has already been added to the national income. So when you sell it off or when you resell it off, the value of it should not be added here. So these are some of the precautions, and next we will move on to the next method, which is income method or factor earning method. In factor earning method, we are seeing it from the distribution side. That is, The value is calculated by adding all the income generated during the course of producing the national product. Whatever income or revenue is generated, we are adding all that together to calculate the national income at this point. What are the different steps involved? First, the enterprises are divided into various industrial groups. So each of the enterprise is divided into various industrial groups, and we are calculating factor incomes from each of these individual industrial groups. The first one is labor income, which can either be wages and salaries, fringe benefits provided, employers' contribution to social security. Wages and salaries is nothing but wages provided for the provision of labor work. Fringe benefits are additional benefits given additional benefits given on top of these wages and salaries, and employer contribution to social security is nothing but ESI and provident fund provisions. Next is capital income, and capital income can either be profit or interest or dividend or royalty earned. The third one is mixed income, that can be either from farming or sole proprietorship or by any other professions. Using this method, we can calculate national income by adding domestic factor income. Domestic factor income is nothing but the income inside our own country, and net factor income from abroad. So when we add both the incomes together, since this is actually a factor earning method or income method, we are adding both the incomes, that is income earned inside the country and income earned from countries abroad. The formula used here is national income Y is equal to W plus R plus I plus pi plus R minus P. W is nothing but wages earned, R is nothing but rent provided or rent earned by people who have provided land, I is interest earned for people who have provided capital to any firm sector, pi is the profits earned from all these investments, R is exports and P is imports, and when we subtract imports from the exports, we get net factor income from abroad. So national income by factor earning method or income method is Y equal to W plus R plus I plus pi plus R minus P, and it is used to calculate income in the following sectors: small enterprises, banking and insurance, commerce and transport, other professions, liberal arts and domestic services, public authorities, house properties, and foreign sector transactions. And the values of foreign sector transactions is taken from balance of payments. Here also there are some precautions that needs to be handled when calculating national income, and they are in two categories. One, the items to be included, and second one, the items not to be included. First, in items to be included, we have to include imputed values of rents for self-occupied houses or offices. Normally, we don't include values of rent for our own house or our own office. So, when we are calculating national income using this method, we have to add imputed values of rent. Imputed value is nothing but assumed values. We have to assume some value of rent based on our common sense or based on the values of general value that is prevailing in the market for houses or offices. The second one is imputed values of services provided by owners of production units to using the labor from our own family. Normally, when own family is included in the production, they will not be paid separately for the services provided. In this case, we have to assume some value which are called as imputed values for the services provided from people in our own family. Next is the items that are not to be included when calculating GNP at market prices using this method. First one is transfer payments. These payments are not received for any services provided in the current year because they are pension or social insurance which are normally provided for services provided in earlier years or in previous years. So it is generally not considered in the current year. Next is sale of second-hand goods. Similar to the first method, here also sale of second-hand goods is not included in the national income calculation because these do not create new flow of goods or services in the current year. Windfall gains such as lotteries are also not to be included. Corporate profit tax should also not be included because these taxes are already part of the company profit. When you add this corporate profit tax again, it will be considered as double counting. Hence, corporate profit tax is not included when calculating GNP at market prices using income method or factor earning method. The third one is expenditure method or outlay method. In this, the total expenditure incurred by the society in a particular year is added together, and there are four different expenditures in a particular year. The first one is expenditure for private consumption, which is C. The second one is for private investment, which is I. Third is expenditure made by the government, which is G. And finally, net exports, which is nothing but X minus M. So GNP here, or gross national product here, is C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Here also we have to follow some precautions. The first one is we should not include second-hand goods. The second one is purchase of shares and bonds from secondary market sales should not be included. The third one is transfer payments should not be included. And finally, expenditure on intermediate goods should also not be included in order to prevent double counting. So these are some of the methods of calculating national income, and then in the next session we'll be seeing about importance of national income analysis, the difficulties in measuring national income and social accounting. Thank you.